Hello, I'm Mariana Danilovich with Ultra Live TV, and we're here with Steve Bradbury, who is the VP of Content and Business Development for GoTV Networks and has been in our space for quite some time
Too many years.
and can tell us a little bit about where it's going. Hi, Steve.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
It's an interesting time. I was just having a conversation with a couple of colleagues. Having a multi-platform strategy is a no-brainer. Executing a multi-platform strategy, that's what takes the challenge. That's the challenge now. Everybody's going to try to put content where they can, but how do you actually make it work? That's the big challenge.
And you've been now in the mobile space for a few years and online before that. Which one is more challenging with video?
Well, mobile is more challenging right now just because the user experience isn't what it is online, but that's more because it's a younger environment. Over time, that will change. I mean, I'm moderating a panel tomorrow on smartphones and tablets, and clearly that ups the ante in terms of the experience. So it's getting closer, but when you can buy a 21-inch, 24-inch monitor and sit and watch video compared to what you watch on a 3 or 4-inch screen, it's not quite the same yet, but it's getting closer.
So what has changed? You and I have been in digital Hollywood for a decade and a half. What has changed in terms of the space that we're in and that we have been in and that we have promoted and worked hard to develop? What do you think is different this year?
There's a little more sobriety, I think. We've gone through a bubble, a non-bubble, another bubble. I think there's a little more sobriety, a little less, let's throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks. Companies are trying to spend their money more wisely. And learn from what's gone on in the past. So I think there's this more sobriety that, okay, we just can't throw money at it and hope that it works. We actually have to have a plan, which is very different than, as you and I know, has been sometimes in the past.
And a lot of larger entrants maybe with plans of their own?
Well, yeah, I mean, the larger entrants are playing in the space, but they're not having any better results than anybody else is, and I'd still say that the smaller, more nimble companies tend to just respond faster. The bigger companies, the studios are still sitting on piles and piles of content, but there's only so much you can do with the monsters in multi-platform environment. Not to pick on the monsters because I happen to like the show, but the studios and the networks, they have their own challenges, just like everybody else. The fact that they've entered it gives it more of a validation to everybody else that we were here and now they're here, but they don't have the secret sauce figured out yet. No one does.
So what is it that you've seen in the last year or so that you think is absolutely breakthrough in terms of maybe a digital media offering?
Well, I'm very intrigued by what Project Natal can bring out of Microsoft. If it can deliver on what the demo was, I saw a demo at CES that Steve Ballmer did. If it can really deliver on what it is, that's pretty radical. That's pretty groundbreaking. I'm not ready to believe that it's going to deliver all that a setup demo is going to deliver until I see it, but I think that has absolutely enormous applications.
Well, describe to our audience. What do you think? What do you mean by that?
Well, Project Natal is about being able to use your hands and natural movement as opposed to using, say, a joystick or if you were driving a car, a wheel, where you can actually just use your hands to move the game, move the experience forward. But if you can begin to communicate with something other than speech, see, email was a great equalizer for people who are not very good at speaking. Email opened up the world of communication to people who couldn't speak. What the natural movement technologies, Project Natal being one of them, can do is open up the world of communication to people who can't necessarily manipulate small little devices. And just from a societal standpoint, I think that's remarkable. Outside of what a game company can make money on or whatever, but just if you look at it in the broader picture, that's pretty remarkable. I think that has the opportunity over a number of years to really be a game changer.
So social impact to actually communicate through these connected devices with your whole body.
More of the ways that we communicate when you and I are looking at each other, we can communicate now by talking, by looking, by touching, by facial movements, hand movements, and we can communicate with each other. It doesn't have to be through speech, it doesn't have to be through text. But when you're not physically with that person, you have limitations. There's the wall, and how you break that wall down is what this is all about. So ultimately, the more technology allows the wall to get broken down, the more it empowers people to communicate.
Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you.